What is going on, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by the man with the picks, Pez himself. Pez, what's going on?
Jeff recovering from that All-Star game last night. It kept me up all night trying to figure out what happened. We've adopted soccer penalty kicks, it appears, to end All-Star games. I don't know where that came from.
I guess you could also say this is maybe a little hockey dripping its way into other sports because hockey does a shootout. They want a definitive winner. I'm okay with the setup in soccer that you mentioned. I'm okay with the shootout in hockey. I'm not okay with this in baseball.
Jeff, you remind me in 1992 at Rutgers University, I was a member of the South Region Garden State Games, which I think are now defunct, but coached by a legendary high school South Jersey coach, Coach Brian Gibney, close to 1,000 career wins, which is shocking. Pez's Picks, we did a breakaway, a sudden death overtime to decide, and Pez's Picks, breakaway number one. I pulled a little kind of like hockey move and scored. I was on the cover of the Courier Post, Coach. Maybe we're on to the right thing. One of the most glorious moments of my athletic life. Schwarber, I believe, made a lot of Philly people a lot of money. I was at a couple saloons yesterday in South Jersey, and a lot of people were jumping on Schwarbombs and Schwarber MVP, which we talked about. I don't know why I didn't put this out, Jeff, but not a bad play to take a guy who's a reserve as MVP, not going up against the best pitchers. So, yeah, I think he paid off 10,000. I don't even know what it was. The odds were pretty shocking, but I still don't know what happened, Jeff. I guess he hit more home runs, so they win. I don't know. I don't know, but it was exciting, I suppose.
It was it? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I also hate the extra innings. Let's put a runner on second. You know what that reminds me of, Pez? When I was a kid, and we used to play in our backyards. We used to have Ghost Man. I don't know if you ever had Ghost Man. You didn't have enough players, so if you were playing even like a 3-on-3 game of backyard baseball, and all of a sudden you've got everyone on base, you say, all right, well, I got to go hit because we don't have enough players to have a batter. Ghost Man on third. That's what it reminds me of. And it just seems so childish. I'm fine with the pitch clock. I'm fine with them challenging balls and strikes. I'm fine with all of that. Some of the gimmicks in baseball, though, I just don't understand. Do you like any of this stuff?
Absolutely not, Jeff. I hate everything that baseball is going, including the red carpet and the style. Was I watching? Are these drug cartel leaders now? Every Major League Baseball player. What's up with these guys?
You didn't like seeing Livy Dunn? You didn't like seeing Livy Dunn with Paul Skeens on the red
Jeff,
carpet?
I've made a great observation. Livy Dunn is the new Taylor Swift of baseball. I mean, what?
Yeah.
How many times? I mean, she's amazing, Jeff. And I'm a connoisseur of very attractive women, of course, and my wife is as well, I think. So that's okay for me to say. But Livy Dunn, what is going on here, Jeff? How a red carpet for the All-Star game? What are these? And they looked uncomfortable. These guys,
Yeah.
these are a lot of these baseball guys are country boys or guys from third world countries. They look a little uncomfortable. I don't know what's going on, Jeff. I think we're over marketed as a country. Let's get back to baseball. Skubal got robbed in that first inning. I mean, he did pull the challenge flag and right down the middle. I don't know. That guy must have had money on the National League, but how about Skeens coming out? A little worried about that. Coming out throwing 100 mile an hour heat in inning one. I don't know. I don't know if I like the direction of putting a pitcher out there for one inning throwing 100 miles an hour when you got half the season left. I don't know.
Well, let's be honest. This is Paul Skeens' playoffs. The Pirates are not going to be playing in the playoffs. This is his opportunity to get in front of a national audience. And so, hey, I'm going to go out there. They did not have him as an extended start last time he started. And I think he only pitched 5 innings, 78 pitches, around that number. And so what do? He's going out there and saying, I'm gonna go out there and show people that I am the best pitcher in baseball. He faced 3 batters, 3 outs, 2 strikeouts, and a ground out. And he's done. And his day's done.
In this same saloon I was at, we had a conversation. Do you take Skubal or Skeens? Do you take Judge or Ohtani to start a team? Who do you take in that twosome? I went with, you're not going to believe this, Jeff. I went with Skubal, and I went with Judge. I mean, the guy's batting 355. I mean, that's Ted Williams numbers right there. That's who I went with.
I would never not take Ohtani because if he's healthy, he can also pitch. And he's a really good pitcher. So then I'd be getting a great hitter and 2 pitchers, whichever pitcher you choose. I think you can't go wrong with the pitchers. But I would always take Ohtani over Judge for that reason.
Well, you can't argue right or wrong in this situation. I mean, these guys are amazing. But Otani, we should be taking. The guy's a gambler, Jeff. We got to
Hell
love this
yeah.
guy. He's a Japanese gambler. We need to tap into the Japanese market and some of that Japanese baseball over there with my man, the Sling Man. He's gambling it left and right. Apparently, it's easy money, Jeff. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese, but I'd like to. Again, that FFSN CEO, I mean, he's contacted me. We're getting that RV, Jeff. I don't know if you know
Nice.
that for a Bethpage, and maybe we get the jet. We head over there to Japan for a night. Those baseball games, they look a lot more fun than American games. I don't know. Maybe they're onto something. Sake bombs at baseball. I did discuss this. I have to recant some comments with KT Smith. Sake at a baseball game is acceptable, Jeff. I'm just going to put that out there. It's acceptable.
Well, since you brought up Paul Skeens, and before we leave baseball and go to talk about some NFL stuff, I've been asking you to do this video for social media. You can find Pez on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Pez's Picks, and you have not done it, so I'm going to ask you about it on the show, and that is, Pez, you take Paul Skeens when you get plus odds, and even if you're close to even money, because, well, he's that good. And I, as a Pirates fan, have been telling you, you can't do this. You have to stop because he has no run support. And the last time he pitched was a great example. I think the guy gave up like one run, and he ends up losing the game because the Pirates can't score runs, and they lose 2-1 overall, I think, and it might have been against Minnesota. At what point, Pez, we are at the All-Star break, do you say, I can't bet this guy anymore? It's just the team is too bad.
Well, I had this conversation in the same saloon, Jeff. Big baseball talk with some friends of mine, and we're going to keep taking them, Jeff. At the end of the day, the numbers for the pitcher are way more important than numbers for the hitting team. Now, of course, they don't hit for him, and that's a problem with power pitchers. Power pitchers tend to lull their own team to sleep. They don't get any action in the field. The bats go quiet. Seen this a lot. Roger Clemens had the same issue. But I guarantee by the end of the season, that Skeens starts getting wins. I mean, this guy, you can't have the numbers he has without getting wins at some point. And if you really think about it, a team batting 230 compared to a team batting 260. So we're talking, worst to best. Not that many hits, right? I mean, out of 10 at bats, maybe you're talking 2 hits, maybe 1. And so I think the way you look at baseball, investing and handicap, whatever you want to call it, it's a season. So currently 4-8, cost us some bucks. The guy gave up a home run, gives up two runs on 1 hit, and at the end of the day, they lose 2-1. We've had a lot of 1-loss or 1-run losses over the last couple of weeks, and that's going to happen. I mean, Aaron Judge said it best: the Yankees go into slump. So Pez's Picks, we're not immune to that. We will continue to take Skeens when the numbers are there, Jeff. We're not worried. I think the Pirates are going to figure out how to start hitting for that guy. Second half of the season, things start to correct a little bit. I can't wait to bet Skeens, Chef. I can't wait. I can't wait to bet him again.
I hope it works out for you and for Pez's Picks in general. But man, and I will say this, and I want to ask you about this because the last time you took Paul Skeens, we put the video out on Instagram, and there was someone that commented and said, "Pez, I'm a Pirates fan. Why shouldn't I just be taking the under?" I think that game might have been Minnesota. The total was like 7 runs, and if you're the Pirates fan, hammer the under. What point do you ever switch to just overall? What do you ever go into the spread total plays? You kind of avoid those with baseball. I'm curious why.
Well, that game I watched, and Pittsburgh left a ton of runners on base. So when you bet a total, I mean, you're basically flipping a coin. I mean, they set that line for a reason. It's 50-50 one way or the other. Did it look logical after that game to, a 3-run game to take under 7? Of course. But at some point, teams are going to get hits. At some point, they're going to hit for Paul Skeens. At some point, everybody gets rocked. So we try to keep things more database because we're looking long-term. When you're taking over-unders, I mean, you can look at the history. You can look at the team's over-under totals. And, everybody can do that. But I think at the end of the day, the data is what you want to lean on. You don't want to lean on your gut. Did I think it was going to be an under? Of course. But we're looking for database system gambling. We're not looking at just flipping a coin. Yeah, Skeens and Pittsburgh have been cold. I think when you stick to ERA, you stick to whip count, history against teams, batting average against certain left or right-handed pitchers, you're more likely to consistently win money, and that's basically what we're at. It's kind of like in the NFL. Try to stay away from totals because you could get burned at the end of a game. And this season with Major League Baseball, it's one of the hardest ones. I've been looking at this. Handicappers around the country are really struggling this year. We've had a ton of bullpen and closers blow games, and it's a kind of a lost art. Inconsistency in baseball right now is kind of the name of the game. The Mets, the Yankees, teams that are great, have gone into slumps. I mean, even Boston's been up and down. I mean, this team stinks, and now all of a sudden they're good. So I think once we get to midpoint after All-Star break, teams start to kind of do what we think they're going to do and what the numbers say they should do. So we're not panicking. We're 5 games below 500, Jeff. Right now, we're not in the Hall of Fame. We're not batting 500, but we're going to get there. And totals occasionally we'll do, but I don't like doing them, Jeff.
Okay.
That's more coin flipping right there.
That's fair. And the last thing I'll say about Skeens, and this is just because as a Pirate fan, in case you're thinking about late season plays, they have been known to slowly start pulling back on his usage. They've been slowly pulling back on his innings. Why? Because there's no reason to potentially risk arm strain. Keep that in the back of your brain, Pez. But let's move on from baseball and the All-Star game and talk some NFL futures. All teams, every single NFL team will be in camp at least by next Wednesday, reporting to camp July 23rd. So the next time you hear Pez's Picks podcast, all 32 NFL teams will be at training camp. That means football is back. I know you're excited, and you've been having the future plays, and you've been done. We're finishing up the AFC. So what were your most recent plays here?
So we're finishing up our last division, Jeff. To run it down, Broncos, we're taking the under, 9.5. Chiefs, we're not making a play. At some point, the Chiefs have to fall off. I believe they're at 11.5.
11.5? Wow.
And that's a number that, it seems unlikely. But then again, it's the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So I'm pulling it up right now just to make sure. I'd like to bet the under, Jeff. At the end of the day, who am I to bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, right? And Kelsey, new body, guys that shed about 30 pounds. So we're going to stay away from that one. Las Vegas Raiders, it looks like a trap, Jeff. 7.5 is their total. I believe they had 3 wins last year, maybe 4. Mm-hmm. To take the under is minus 160. So they're baiting you to take the over 7.5 at plus 135. We're going to put this out later today. Geno Smith, not a huge fan. A nice guy, a guy that's a great backup or a quarterback that can kind of carry a team through a season without embarrassment. Pete Carroll, this guy's old. The rookie running back, is he going to be good? Too many variables there, so we're going to skip on that one. And the Chargers, Jeff, this whole division we hate. 9.5 is their total. We went over the whole season a number of times, me and my colleagues. 10 wins is about what we have them at if everything goes perfect. The end of their schedule, the end of their season schedule is tough. Can Herbert go 3 interceptions for an entire season again, which he would have to do for them to be good again? I don't know. And I don't like Harbaugh. I can already see myself betting against him and hating myself for doing it because I don't like the guy. So we're going to stay away from that one too. I think there are too many variables in that division. Chiefs, clearly the best team still, but 11.5 is just too much. For them to go 12-5, I mean, it'd have to be a miraculous thing considering the schedule they have. So in the AFC, I think not much has changed, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and I'm going to throw the Steelers in there, are going to be our best teams. Then you've got some up-and-comers. You've got Houston. I think the Colts are going to surprise people, and they're going to kind of be Minnesota this year, kind of win more games than we think. We look at the Jets, we look at Miami, garbage teams. I'm not a believer in the Bengals at all, and I think the Browns are going to have a better year than people think. I think 5.5 is an easy number for the Browns to hit, considering the talent they have on that team and potentially, 2-quarterback system, whoever it may be. You're going to have a veteran and maybe some rookies off the bench. So I think in the AFC, not much has changed, right? Except for Pittsburgh, which we love. 8.5 is their number. We're taking the over. I mean, Tomlin never finishes below 500. We love that. And I think that team's primed for a Super Bowl run. I really do. Aaron Rodgers, aside from telling a kid at the Lake Tahoe charity event, I don't know if you know this, Jeff, some kid said, you almost hit me with your club. And Rodgers said, well, almost doesn't count. This guy's already badass, Jeff. He's already a Pittsburgh guy. He's telling.
It was the ball. It was the ball. He had an errant tee shot. The kid goes, "You almost hit me with the ball," and he goes, "Almost doesn't count, kid. Like you're not getting an autographed glove because I almost hit you with the ball." So hey, I'm fine with it.
He's
I'm
telling
fine.
kids to have off. I mean, this is a Steelers kind of deal, right? So, I, the more we looked at all these teams, Jaguars, Titans, even the Patriots. I like the changes they made, but we've got rookie quarterbacks on year 2 in Denver, in New England, and quarterback questions with the Jaguars. There's a lot of quarterback questions, Miami, and those are teams we're going to shy away from. So, at the end of the day, I think the teams that we think are going to be the best teams in the AFC are still the best teams. Bengals didn't take a play on them. I think the biggest question mark, Jeff. I don't like the system that they've created in that town. When you have over $100 million a year invested in 2 receivers and a quarterback, I think that leaves too many holes in your lineup. So I like the Steelers situation, and I think they could contend, Jeff. I think the AFC is open for about 4 or 5 teams. The rest of them I don't think have a shot.
Real quick, if you have the lines in front of you, what is the total that you were playing for the Dolphins? Out of curiosity, I want to bring them up for a sec.
So the Dolphins, 8.5 is their total. We took the under.
Well, I'll tell you what, you talk about health is always going to be paramount in regards to picking these totals and things like that, the future plays. I don't know if there's a team that is more based on the health of their team and the overall success of their team than Miami. Tua's history, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they all have a history of getting hurt. If they can stay healthy, I could see them being over. I could see them being close to a 9-10 win team, but that's a big if. And Mike McDaniel is going to be coaching for his future because I think this is his last season.
Absolutely.
If he can't figure it out. So sometimes a coach, a team needs to be kind of held over the fire a little bit. I think that's the Miami Dolphins this year. If there's a team that kind of shocks, everyone's like, wow, where did they come from? I would say Miami. Do I think they make the playoffs? No. But do I think they're in the mix at the end of the season if everyone stays healthy? I'm going to say yes.
Well, when we took it, Jeff, it was prior to all these trades and prior to the Steelers kind of robbing them, in my opinion, and pulling off the Ramsey deal. The line hasn't changed, but the juice has changed. The amount, the vig has changed. So when we took them, I believe the under was -120, -130. Today it's -195. So the books have completely changed on the outlook of the Miami season. To take the over right now, you're getting +165. So I think that says that Miami is going to suck this year, right? They don't give you deals in Vegas. So I don't think there's a bigger swing in odds right there. +165 to get to 9 wins sounds to me like a little bit of bait for a big mouth bass there. Under 8.5, -195. We wouldn't take that. So
yeah.
Hopefully people took it when the juice was there, but that tells me there's trouble in Miami. Once the players know the coach is kind of a lame duck, they check out, Jeff. They don't want to get hurt. It's kind of like the old war story in Vietnam. You have this crappy officer who's telling you to do something. The guys know we're to die if we do that, and they go, no, thank you. We're not going over that hill, buddy. You go over that hill. So, and a new kind of coach. I kind of like his mentality. I don't like the capri shorts, Jeff. You can't wear capri shorts as an NFL coach. Once I saw that on that guy, I knew his career was over. I mean, who does that? What's going on there? Is he Rafael Nadal playing the French Open or something? Too much tennis with capri shorts. You can't have tennis and football. They don't mix, Jeff. So I don't have high thoughts for the Miami Dolphins. I worry about that too. I mean, the number of concussions and head injuries that poor guy's had. Kind of, you could argue it's kind of selfish for them to even put him out there at this point.
Yeah. They're investing millions of dollars into the man, and so he can make the choice for himself. But, why do the Dolphins not play well in cold weather? Because their coach wears capris. That's why.
Unreal, Jeff. Unreal. Now, we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, Jeff. That's the team we'll be looking at. Over 10.5. We're now at -160. So there's a lot of juice coming in on the over for the Philadelphia Eagles. To take the under, you're getting plus money, but to take the over, that's the favorite. I still think Eagles clearly the best NFC team, and we'll be tapping into the NFC starting this week. And do we get a little advantage talking NFC once we get into camp? Of course. Once you get into camp, you get a little bit more information, but then the odds change and the juice changes, kind of like with Miami. But we'll be tapping into that.
All right. That sounds great. So make sure you check him out again on Instagram and Twitter at Pez's Picks for all the latest odds and plays. Let's finish this podcast up with the Open Championship, the 2025. It's hard to believe, Pez, we're still in July and they are about to wrap up their major season for the year. Yes, we still have the FedEx Cup playoffs. Yes, we still have the Tour Championship. And yes, we still have the Ryder Cup in the fall. But it's just really weird that in July, this used to be in August when they're wrapping everything up. But Royal Portrush, to give everyone a rundown of the odds for the final major, this is what I had as of, I think, yesterday when I did my show for Fairways and Dreams, at my odds show. So Scotty Scheffler is plus 450, according to what I have. Rory McIlroy plus 750. John Rahm plus 1,200. Bryson plus 2,000. Xander Schauffele plus 2,500. He won it last year. And Tommy Fleetwood at plus 2,800 to round out the top six. Pez, what do you like about this Open Championship?
Well, as you know, Jeff, and anyone that watches the Open, I was watching live at the Open before we came on. This is the ultimate crapshoot of golf. You could have Scotty Scheffler win. You could have someone that we've never heard of win. Weather is a huge determinant in wind in this tournament. And the tide changes in Ireland, changes the wind. I've been there before. Strange place. You could be wearing a winter jacket one day. The next, by the morning, you could be walking around in shorts and a T-shirt. So I believe what we're looking at right now, as long as things hold up and the tournament starts in about 15 hours or so, so it should, I believe Thursday morning tee time, which would then tee off late on the day Friday, are getting a huge advantage. The weather all the way up till about noon. I mean, we're starting to get gusts around 20, around like 9, 10 o'clock. But the rain, it appears, is going to hold off on Thursday until noon or later, and then it's raining all day. On Friday, the wind, same kind of deal, begins to die in the morning and die all day to I think Friday afternoon. If you're on the course at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, you're going to be popping birdies. We got 5-mile-an-hour winds with 10-mile-an-hour gusts. So that will be flag hunting. So when we look at these tee times, that benefits Scheffler. It benefits Schauffele. It benefits Shane Lowry. Rory McIlroy couldn't be in a worse situation.
Yes.
I mean, this guy tees off last on Thursday. On Thursday at 4 o'clock, we're looking at 30-mile-an-hour gusts and 14-mile-an-hour southeast winds, which is going to be pretty cold at that ocean. We're looking at rain Thursday all day. So the worst thing for a pro golfer, unless you're used to this stuff, is teeing off when it's raining. They got to keep the clubs dry. They got to keep themselves dry. You got to have the proper gear. I can remember, I don't know if it was last year or whatever, Rory McIlroy came out in some gold Nike rain suit, Jeff. It was the ugliest. It was a bronze. I don't know what the hell. He looked like somebody from the Avengers, Jeff. I don't know what the hell this guy's wearing. So I think the veterans, Justin Rose is going to benefit from this. Shane Lowry, Keegan Bradley. I mean, the three guys that we've put out so far, and I think we're going to stick with them, since it's a crapshoot, Jeff. And, of course, Rory or Scheffler could go out there and shoot 25 under and win. That wouldn't be too much of a surprise. But Keegan Bradley plus 10,000. I love him. Justin Rose plus 8,000. And Shane Lowry plus 3,000, who's won here. The guys, him and Rory, I mean, this is their neighborhood. This is their town. Knows the course better than ever. Those are the three horses that we're riding. I think you got to be a guy in your, a little bit more mature. Guys that are their first time we know aren't going to win. Guys that are over 50 aren't going to win. So we're eliminating a lot of the field. I'm taking all the live guys out, Jeff. I'm done with that crap. Those guys, they're getting fatter and richer. I'm done with betting on them. Shambo, not going to win, Jeff. This guy can't win on this course. He changed the irons again. I don't know if you know that, right? I had heard some stupid argument that his irons were shooting the ball over the green. So forget about that. Forget about the scientists. Scheffler, Spieth, I think Texas guys are in this because they know how to play in wind. And I think Keegan Bradley, New England guy, the weather up there is horrible. 12 months a year. So I like his chances a lot.
So to reiterate what you said about the early tee times on Thursday and the late tee times on Friday, that benefits the following groups, and we're talking big name players. So at 4:58 a.m. Eastern time Thursday, that's Xander Schauffele, who won the Open last year, J.J. Spaun won the U.S. Open this year, and John Rahm. Okay, now at 5:09, that's where you get Shane Lowry, Colin Morikawa, and Scotty Scheffler. at 9:48. So now we're getting into those evening. This is the 9:48 a.m., but it's evening over there, the later tee times. That's Robert McIntyre, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Rose that you mentioned. Off after that, 9:59, Jordan Spieth, Ludwig Oberg, Victor Hovland. 10:10, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Tommy Fleetwood. So that'll be something to follow. Very interesting. Those are just a couple of the tee times, obviously, for those that don't know how golf works. But so I'll give you a couple plays that I found interesting. So I chose, and I like to think outside the box. The majors, the sports books give you a lot more. And we got screwed last year. Not last week. We didn't get screwed. But, man, we were close to having the hole-in-one play out. And then on Sunday, someone has an ace at the Scottish. I get an
unbelievable.
I'm traveling home, and all of a sudden my phone buzzes. My wife, I said, "What was that?" She goes, "There was a hole-in-one." And I said, damn it." She's like, "What?" I said, "That was a play." She goes, "Oh, you lost." And so
meaningless hole-in-one. The guy had no chance. I don't even know who that guy is.
All right, so if you want to bet the top live golfer, just the top live golfer, John Rahm's plus 260. I think he's probably a good shot. So I don't like Bryson DeChambeau on the link style. He missed the cut last year at the Open. He is a power guy. This is not power golf. You have to play. You have to be creative. That's not. Here's another one. You'll like this. You can get top 40 plays and top 30 plays. I've got a top 40 pick plus 160 odds. Padraig Harrington to finish top 40. This guy won the Senior Open. He's won over here, and he's obviously not from the United States. He's comfortable in the link style. And then my favorite play is Sergio Garcia, one of my most, he and Rory are like 1A, 1B for players I can't stand the most. Sergio to miss the cut is plus 110. So I'm going to be rooting hard against Sergio Garcia.
It's just possible. I mean, his game's come around a little bit, Serge. I love I love that play as long as he's on the right side, which it looks like. I believe he's teeing off first, right? I think he's going out really early. I think Phil is too. I think as long as that weather plays out, Padraig Harrington should be there. I mean, that guy, he's Irish, so he knows this course, obviously. I mean, there aren't too many courses. I don't know, Jeff. I've been there. You could drive across the whole country in like 2 hours. So I've done it. It's like, what? You're on a back road. I have back roads in that country. So I love Padraig. I like his game. He's going after Roger Maltby. The guy's attacking the commentator, so he's still got some fire in the belly. I don't know what the hell that thing was about. I'm looking for my ball. But I think Padraig, strong play there. I think John Rahm, a lot of people are talking about him being the best live guy. I don't know about that. I think the pressure of these live guys has made it harder for them. Where we thought they were free, hey, what do I have to prove? I think they have so few chances to get in the spotlight now that the pressure is even greater. I think you got to be a lunatic like Shambo and not really give a damn about anything, and I don't think that affects him. But Rahm, I feel like he's grinding on hole one. He's grinding to prove something. He's grinding to prove that his decision was what it was, and same thing with Koepka and same thing with DJ. I wonder about Scheffler, Jeff. I'm going to learn a lot about him. I don't think he's finished higher than 7th or 8th at the British Open. It's a tournament, like you said. It's not a power tournament. It's a touch tournament. We know he has touch, but I think it's a different kind of touch. I think you can't be a super mechanical, accurate guy, and that's what Scheffler is. I think you have to be a little bit more of a field golfer, and I wonder if he has that in him. And I'm taking shots at Scotty Scheffler here, Jeff. It's mid-July, so we're grasping at anything to talk about here. But that's something I'm interested in looking at, and I think an interesting plot line to kind of see is his game capable of winning a British Open? And we'll have to wait and see.
I agreed with you up until I saw him play at the Scottish last week. He definitely adapted his game much better than I thought. I have him as my favorite pick this week to win. I think that he proved a lot to me, which not that he has to prove anything to me, but when I'm watching him play, I'm like, man, Scotty's adapted his game a little bit better. I think sometimes it takes guys a couple years to figure things out. The question with Scotty will always be twofold. Can he hit fairways? Is the driver under control? And can he make some damn putts? If he can do those two things, he's going to be tough to beat.
These greens are, they're similar to Augusta, but even harder, I think. They don't roll true. I'm watching Keegan Bradley on the 5th hole right now, Jeff, and it's sunny. This is something I don't like. Blue sky, sun, and these guys are in short sleeves right now. So I don't know what that means if these conditions last for 4 days. And, sometimes these British Opens turn out to be like these guys at a municipal course and they're going 30 under. I hope that's not the case. I like when it's blowing 50. They got to get the jackets on. We get some guys pouting. Speaking of that, you see Wyndham Clark, suspended from Oakmont, Jeff. The guy got banned. He got a life ban. He hasn't paid for the damage. Scumbag. He hasn't paid. He should be banned from everything, Jeff. Let's get that guy out of there. He's a pouty American.
I'll be curious because the U.S. Open does circulate back to Oakmont in a few years. It's going to be, I think, 5 or 6 years, and it kind of circulates back to these like Pebble Beach is one of them. Pinehurst number 2 is one of them. Oakmont is one of them. If he hasn't paid up his fines, if he hasn't done the anger management course that he has to do to get, are they going to say, hey, USGA, he's not coming because he's not welcome here? That would be interesting to see what happens there. What a jerk.
What a loser, Jeff. What a loser. We're not having him on our show. Wyndham Clark is banned from Pez's picks. That's it. We're done with that guy. We're never betting on that guy.
There you go. All right, Pez. Anything you want to finish up the show with? Any final thoughts?
Enjoy the week off, Jeff. This British Open, the best sporting event. You can get up at 7 a.m. and pump in 3 hours of watching before the family gets up. My favorite golf tournament, Jeff. This is it. I like it even more than Augusta. Augusta, you can't watch that. They control everything. This thing's going to be on 12 hours a day. I love on Sunday. I mean, you can go to brunch. Take the family to brunch, Jeff, on Sunday where there's TV. So don't tell anybody. Be like, hey, I will take you to brunch, right? Take them where you can watch in the background. My wife catches me every year. She goes, British Open. I'm like, yeah. I can't wait. I love it. 15 under, I believe Lowry finished with the last time he won. Justin Rose shot 8 over that day, Jeff. He would have been in contention if he was even par or a little bit under. So look for Justin Rose. I think big things for Justin Rose this week. The guy's been priming. This is all he cares about. You know, he's an English guy, which is close to Ireland. So I like his chances a lot. That's my horse.
All right. Make sure you check out Pez on Pez's Picks on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you check us out every single Thursday morning right here on the podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Pez, thanks for your time, and we'll talk next week. Take it easy.
See ya.